Good day, my friends. Good day, my friends. Good day, and welcome and happy Friday to you and yours for this, our evening version of this thing of ours. I'm so glad you can be with us. Let me remind you a couple of things first and foremost. Always, I have to say this. Make sure that you are subscribed. Ensure that you are subscribed. Make sure you like the video. Hit the like. Likes are critical. Because likes are the lifeblood, or dare I say, the lifeblood of our algorithmic trip to the big time. So I thank you for that. Let me remind you, as I always do, my friends, that it is now today, as of today, it is 144 days until the election. 144 days until the election. Now, let me tell you something right now. There isn't a day that goes by where I don't think to myself, dear God, how are we going to do this? How are we going to pull this off? Please don't let there be anything that goes wrong. So, my friends, sit back, get ready. We're going to have a fun time this eve. I promise you. I assure you. But before we do, my friends, let me remind you before we start for you to listen with incredible attention. Pay close attention to these important words from our very, very important and critical sponsor. There's bad turbulence now. The economy is a minefield right now, ready to detonate and destroy the wealth and dreams of the unprepared. Bank failures, de-dollarization, debt. But amidst the chaos, a beacon of hope emerges. Kevin Sorbo, screen legend, Hercules, Christian actor, and an outspoken activist for the people. With his economic crisis toolkit crafted in partnership with the experts at Noble Gold, Sorbo is now on a mission to help everyday Americans navigate the coming nightmare. This shock-proof toolkit is your compass through the turmoil with recession-proof strategies, inflation-busting techniques, and opportunity-seizing skills to help you not just survive, but thrive in the bedlam. The crisis threatens to derail your financial future, but you now can stay on track and emerge stronger than ever. And the best part, this shield of knowledge is yours absolutely free. Don't become another casualty. And listen, Sorbo's Wealth Warrior ranks today and arm yourself with the tools and tactics you need to protect your hard-earned assets. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com now and sign up for the Economic Crisis Toolkit. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. And remember, there's always a risk of investment and there's no guarantee of any kind. If I explained to you or tried to explain to you or tried to tell you what the plan was for this administration, why they are continuing to place Joe Biden in front of the public, I have no idea. Why would you have him invite a number of people to show up at the White House with cameras and phones and the ability to take down every one of his exceedingly excruciating messages? Why would you do this? Why? I don't understand it. Pull a Kate Middleton. Supposedly, Kate Middleton is going to be seen. Get ready. Get ready for this one. She might be in the back of a car or something. And how much do you want to bet? You're going to say, that's not Kate Middleton. And you're going to say, you're a conspiracy theorist. They don't care. For some reason or another, they do not want you to see her. And why is it that they keep bringing this man out? It's better if you don't see him and imagine what it is that he's going through. Did you see this latest little brouhaha? I don't think it's as bad as people think, but it's Biden getting or threatening. Well, maybe threatening. He has these moments of being the tough guy.
And I know you're a typical press guy. You're grabbing me in front of this all this. And I trust you as far as I throw your phone. I have a good arm, man.
I'm sure you can.
I can throw it a long way. But my point is this.
Yes.
See, he caught himself. I got a pretty good arm. He always talks about his physical prowess. He always talks about how strong he is. Don't mess with me, man. Don't mess with me, man. I'm a strong dude.
I have made very clear to the Israelis what they have to do in the near term. If they don't, what's going to happen?
What's going to happen? Is the U.S. going to cut off funding?
I came because usually you tell me I have.
Oh, look, see, somebody just cut them off. Hey, why would you do this? See, Saya, have a nice day. Tell me why they do this. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I mean, I can come up with some great idea, like they're trying to distract you. You know, that's a big one. Everybody loves it. Oh, they're trying to distract you. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the purpose of that is. I don't know what the purpose of that is. I have no earthly idea. Why? Did you see this one too? This is another great one. This is another beaut. This is where he's meeting the Pope. Did you see this one? Check this out. Watch the forehead. What is he doing? Eskimo kisses? What is this? The Pope's like, what the hell is this? Pope is like, dude, one more time. Hey, how are you? Like, nah. You see his face right now? The Pope's going, what the hell is this? What is he doing to me? He's nuzzling me. If I didn't know any better, I think he's nuzzling me. This is what they do. Nobody can tell the president, don't do that. When you meet somebody, don't rub foreheads. I don't understand it. Maybe you can tell me. Maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe I'm not smart enough for this. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Mort Telford. Bless your heart, Mort. It's Mort Telford, everybody. Thank you, Morty. Maybe I'm just not smart enough for this one. Same thing goes for this lunatic. Why do they keep bringing up? Why is, I don't know if this is new or old. It sounds kind of, it sounds old. This is old Carmelita. It sounds old, but it seems to me like maybe she's, I don't know what the story is. She's, I don't know. This might be new. I'm not sure.
The importance of community banks is they are, as they are called, they're in the community.
The importance of community banks, as they are called, in the community.
Led by members of the community.
Led by members of the community. Community banks are from the community, led by members in the community.
They are people who understand the capacity of the community.
People who understand the capacity of the community, led by people in the community, those in the community, of the community, and by the community.
The needs of the community, the culture of the community.
The needs, the culture, the needs. And don't forget this.
To see what can be unburdened by what has been.
One more time.
You must have and know that you are applauded for having the ability to see what can be unburdened by what has been.
To see, I'm sorry, one more time. Just help me this.
You must have and know that you are applauded for having the ability to see what
to see
what can be
unburdened, to see what can be unburdened
by what has been.
By what has been. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? And here's one for you. I don't know if this is okay to say this, but I'm gonna say this anyway. If I represented the gay community and I said, listen, I'm going to work on the PR for you. Okay. I'm going to work on the PR for you in this gay community. By the way, here's Hockey Gramps. I just checked my subscription. If for some reason it was unchecked, I subscribed several months ago. Well, see, there you go, Hockey. Make sure you check right now. I don't know why. I don't know what. It's a conspiracy, dare I say. It's a conspiracy. Now, here's the thing I want to say to you. If you're in the gay community, a lot of people, as you know, don't understand what you're about. They don't recognize the fact that there are very, very critical issues that affect the civil rights of gay people and people who have same-sex relationships. So do yourself a favor. Whenever you speak, if at all possible, speak in unison, but speak to issues that are critical. Never silly. Never silly. That's not saying don't have fun, but avoid looking silly. Did you hear this? In West Hollywood or whatever, they have these no U-turn signs because apparently those were vestiges from days when gay folks would like cruise around and they would drive and then turn around and go the other way. So a group just realized, hey, signs are vestiges of a terrible and dark time. So let's get rid of them. Let's get rid of them. And let's take the best members of our community, veterans, police officers, people to show the world that we are serious. We are your neighbors. We are to be trusted, and we are to be taken seriously. Okay? Wouldn't that make sense? Wouldn't that make sense? No. Not everybody agrees with that.
LA City Council members Hugo Soto Martinez and Nithya Raman were on hand today to help remove the signs. They say the no cruising and no U-turn signs were put up in the 1990s to prevent people in the gay community from meeting up with other gay people.
I was also surprised that these U-turn signs were still
maybe a girl, or maybe a girl
up. And at first, they seem a little, oh, okay, it's just a no U-turn sign. But when you learn the history of it, and you realize that these were used to profile gay people, it's so important that we have these removed.
Baby gay?
The LA City Council members say the signs were put up after the...
What is... Just help me out here. Help me out here. The 7-foot trans, I think that's right.
Gay community began to grow, and because there was a gay bar in that area.
What is the purpose of that? I swear to you, and it's a free country. But can I ask a question? What is that? I understand a gay man. I understand a gay woman. I understand. And I understand there are people who say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and I'm going to dress as somebody from a different sex. Fine. But this is Halloween. This is somebody who says, I'm going to be 9 feet tall, have a B-52's kind of a divine wig. And again, it's a free country. But can I ask a question? What is the purpose of that? I used to ask the question, why are you walking around with wearing sunglasses all the time? What is with wearing sunglasses all the time? Can I ask that too? I'm just asking a question. Can I ask that question? Can I just say, what's going on here? Tell me what is happening and tell me why this is so. That's all. That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. Period. End of discussion. It's a free country. Now, my friends, this morning we had a chance. We talked about Mr. Logan and others were talking about President Trump, and I don't want to play that again. But I want to ask the very simple question. Do you have any clue as to how many people in this country, in this world, take very, very seriously the notion of extraterrestrial life, ETs, whatever you want to call this iteration of such? Do you have any idea of it? I can't even tell you. And whenever the president or anybody speaks of that, whoever can address this first, whoever can deal with this subject rationally, who knows a little bit about it. President Trump, I love him. God love him. He's like, he's it. He's the only choice we have. He's the only choice he has. But in the meantime, I'm going to say some things because he's not perfect. Would somebody please spend 5 minutes explaining to the president that we're not talking about some pilot who saw something a little weird, okay? Either the tic-tac or the gimbal. We're not talking about that. 1980, Rendlesham Forest, probably one of the most important issues. This was a nuclear, either NATO nuclear, in the UK. Christmas night, Christmas party, Lieutenant Colonel, what's his name? Hurt or Halt or whatever his name is, records the event, finds that the ground is radioactive after this. That was one event. Phoenix Lights, one event. From days of the Cometa reports to other countries go through it. And Roswell, no one understands what happens with Roswell. Jesse Marcel, he knows nothing about this. This is Jesse Marcel. This was remember when they were using films, he had they were holding a copy of either an order or something. And because it was film, you could read on it the actual order. They didn't realize that they should have rolled it up or something. There is evidence. Annie Jacobson, just spend 5 minutes, throw out a name. What was it? The Washington, they saw this famous incident, the LA. Remember in the LA, they were shooting anti-aircraft. They didn't know what the hell this thing was. Since what other countries have said, France is open to it. Iran, by the way, other countries have had no problems with this except us. So I'm not saying he's supposed to spill the beans. I'm not saying he's supposed to know. He doesn't know anything because they don't tell him anything. He doesn't have anybody to sit there and say, I want you to say this. I want you to explain this. Okay? Just explain. If we could ever benefit from reverse engineering, if there ever were anything of the sort of a craft or what have you, do you not think it would benefit mankind? Is there anyone here who would say, no, don't do that? The jaws would drop. He would be able to hit. Do you know how many people believe in this? And they don't want to. They're closeted. They want a president who says, if there is any chance, the idea of not being, the idea of being, and by the way, Eric Weinstein and others notwithstanding, the idea of being the lone person is ridiculous. Listen, let me explain something to you. I've never seen anything. I've never seen an electron either. I have studied this and read about this for years, ufology, to hear what people have said. The evidence is overwhelming. It's just, you have no idea how much there is. But we don't know specifically, we can't announce it as being an extraterrestrial biological entity. We don't know enough about it yet. We don't know. We'll see an orb. We'll see an orb appear, disappear, converge, split apart, fly off. We don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's life. I don't know if that's if that's a drone. I have no idea. Is it from another planet? Zeta Reticuli, that's the binary star system, about 30 light years away, which is nothing to get there. But why is it that we have this idea of people, things, ideas, entities, getting up in the morning and flying to Earth and then flying back? Does that make any sense to you? Where do we get this from? Why do we use 21st century, not physics, but understanding of getting in a flight or getting in something and flying here? Ken Lomison says, as a gay man, they don't represent me. Well, that's one thing I understand about that, Kent. I don't understand how that can be. Let me go back to this a little bit. I don't know how old you are, Kent, but during the I guess the 70s, maybe, who knows? Not the 60s, the 70s. There was a wonderful There was a wonderful Archie Bunker, All in the Family. And it was kind of like a Rashomon type of piece in which I think Ron, what's his name? Ron, the fellow who played Harris in Barney Miller played this man. And it was 3 different versions of Archie meeting with this black fellow. There was Mike Stivick's Meathead's version, Archie's version, and the truth. It was Rashomon, exactly. And there was a type of person, you may not know this. And it was a fellow who would right around the Rap Brown days, right around the Stokely Carmichael, those periods of time, they were dressed with a full super fro, dashiki, sunglasses, and it was and the word they would use was militant. That was a word that was used oftentimes. And this, going back to this Archie, this All in the Family character, one of the versions of the reality, this is, what's his name? Ron? I forget his name. He would say, for example, as a black man, and it was like, oh my God. And people say, well, what are we doing? You have a good point, but you're scaring people. You're scaring people. Now, that's okay. If that's your intention to scare people, you're entitled to scare people, but you're not going to win anything over. See, my thing is I want to win people over. You see, what I'm trying to do with President Trump, and nobody's listening to me about it, is I want the president to win. I want him to lure people. I want him to draw people into his camp. I want people to say, I like this Trump guy. I like him. And I want Trump to say things that make sense. And I want him to address some very serious issues. I don't want him to ask, maybe, who knows? Maybe he gets a young, if you have a bunch of young people, sports people who like Trump, that might be good. Logan, fighters and all that. Well, that's okay. That's all right. As long as you don't look like you're a closeted 16-year-old with some kind of man crush over, some UFC fighter. I'm all for going out and showing people this is what I do. But let me tell you something. UFOs used to not keep me up at night, but I would wonder about this. I would wonder. I would want to see one of these things fly. And maybe I'll get it for you. You can see it. There was an orb one night that appeared in Jerusalem. I think Fox News even did it. It was a globe, kind of something like a sphere. It lowered down over the Temple Mount and then took off straight up, as fast as a bullet. And there it was. I thought, well, that's interesting. What does that mean? I don't know. Is that from outer space? I don't know. Is that human? Not that we know of. We don't know. You don't have to answer the question. You don't have to answer the question. You don't have to say, well, it's obviously from another planet. How do you know it's another planet? Why is it from a different dimension? What if they're already here? Why do people have to come here? What if they exist in a parallel universe, a multiverse? How do we know these things? Why do I have to have an answer? It's not my story. Give an example. When 9/11 happened, and I love the way Tucker kind of felt his way around that, a little bit like, can I talk about 9/11? Okay. This is something you have to remember. When you have a question about 9/11, about JFK's assassination, about whatever it is, you have to ask yourself this question. When somebody challenges you, and somebody says, well, what do you think happened? I always tell people, excuse me, it's your story. It's not mine. It's your story. I don't have to worry about this. It's your story. I don't have to, how do I say this? I don't have to come up with an alternative version of what this thing is. means nothing. Nothing. I don't have to tell you anything. It's your story. I don't have to tell you why. Well, where do you think the people went? Well, what do you think people? Well, where do you think people? I don't know. It's not my story. You tell me. Remember Operation Northwoods? Remember that one? That's a real good one. Okay, that's a real good one. And one of the stories about Operation Northwoods is that it was it was what happened years ago, where it was a proposed idea on the part of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to take a plane, to have a plane, a commercial plane, take off from Miami or Jackson, someplace in Florida, okay? Take off. They were students or people supposedly going on some kind of soccer trip or something. They take off. They land at Eglin Air Force Base. You don't know this. They're all either government operatives or actors or whatever it is. But they take off, let's say in Miami. Goodbye. They take off and they land at Eglin. Okay. They take a plane or a drone, something that looks like this, and they paint it the colors of United or whatever it is. They fly it out over the water, a little kind of close, maybe sort of to Cuba, but not too close. They detonate it, and they find the debris on the ground, on the ocean. And they say Cuba knocked that out of the sky. This was the plan. This was Operation Northwoods, 1960. Kennedy said, no, we're not going to do that. That sound familiar? Take a plane. It takes off. You can read it. It's declassified. Everybody knows that. Everybody in our crew knows it. It takes off. You see, goodbye. You don't know who these people are. You don't check them. You just, but next thing you know, there's this Castro shot these people down, and it's all bogus. This would give us reason to casus belli, to enter a war, some type of activity with Cuba, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, that's the way that will work, right? Okay. This was in, those same people are there. Not the same people, but that same mentality is there. Okay, this was 63, 65 years ago. Now, so when you bring things up, you have to know a little bit about history to say, you mean something like that? Most people don't know that. So consequently, if you want to engage with somebody, how do you engage with somebody who knows nothing about the story? And going back to what I said about President Trump, sir, he loves a sir. Do you know how many credible reports there has been? Do you think that Fife Symington, the governor of Arizona, and I don't know how many people, hundreds? But the question is, and here's a good question, is it possible to have a picture or a photo or a movie or a video or something that would absolutely, positively convince people that, yep, that's it? Would we ever believe it? If you saw it, because there are pictures of orbs disappearing and then breaking up into three and then disappearing again. So what does that tell you? What is that? If you saw that, what type of proof would you need? Do they have to get out and stretch their legs and talk to you? Do they do you have to see them with the spindly? I mean, what is it? This is the first question. And this is one thing that President Trump should engage with. What type of information would you feel comfortable with? What is it? What would it take for you? Because right now I can show you things that are just craft that's hovering. It's a little grainy. Is that good for you? Is that, they kind of take off? Anything? Is that good enough for you? No, it's not good. What about the orbs? Is that good enough for you? No, that's not it. What about abduction? Do you believe that there has ever been a human being that was abducted by an alien life form? Yes or no? Very simple question. Do you believe that? Do you believe that there ever was someone who was abducted? Yes or no? Did it ever happen? The professor says absolutely yes. Rogue says yes. Do you believe it happened? Betty and Barney Hill, remember that one? Weird says no. Weird says no, it never happened. It never happened. I don't believe anybody. It never happened ever. Every time somebody has ever said this, they're lying. Everybody. Since the beginning of time, whenever you've heard this. You know who John Mack is? You know who Professor John Mack is from Harvard? Anybody? Anybody? Oh, they believe it 100%. Oh, I like that. Well, they believe it. Oh, okay. That's very good. Somebody says they were, let's say, they were attacked or kidnapped. Well, they believe it. Are you aware of the particular statements that were made? See, there's one thing that you will never, ever, ever hear anybody ever say when I ask a question. You will never hear somebody say, I have no idea about the facts of the case. I've never studied it. You're asking me a generic case about something I know nothing about. I don't know what they've said. I don't know the evidence. I don't know if there's been certain. There was one, remember this Dr. Lear, this podiatrist, interesting podiatric surgeon, who found pieces of metal, weird metal that he had, I don't know, theoretically the story is, analyzed, and they were found in parts of the body without any healing, any scar, any trauma. But see, what people do is they don't say, I don't know anything about this. I've never studied. I don't know who Betty and Barney Hill is. I don't even know what they're saying. I'm giving you an answer to something I know nothing about because I answer questions. The question that people should ask is, I don't know anything about it. When people say they're abducted, what does that mean? Have I ever heard their story? No, I think I have, but I really haven't. Have you ever heard the results of John Mack regarding hypnosis? No. How many case studies have you ever studied? None. But you just said you don't believe it. I know. I answer questions. I just say things. I don't need proof of anything. I just say things. Madam Stamp says, evening all. Lionel, I'd have to see with my own eyes. Kurt Vonnegut had a great take on interplanetary, interdimensional life in The Sirens of Titan. I'm sure he did. And I thank you for that, Madam Stamp. I'd have to see it with my own eyes. Well, there goes religion. There goes history. There goes stories of Julius Caesar, the Civil War. You wouldn't be a very good police officer because, I don't mean you, but you'd have people coming in there saying, well, you say somebody exposed themselves to you? Well, I have to see that. You know how many people are in prison today because just on the word, I'd have to see it for myself. But you're not going to see it for yourself. Well, then I don't believe it. How would you see 1,000 instances of alleged abduction? Well, I don't know how I'd see it. But I've got to see it myself. But you're not going to see it. Well, then it never happened. Are you saying you don't believe it or it never happened? Well, I'm not saying it never happened. Well, what do you say? Well, I have to see it. It's a very good point, but when you think about this, what do we ever see? What do we see? What is it that we supposedly think? We talk about George Washington. Well, people saw it. People were there. How many people were there? How many? You could do a Ken Burns documentary and just kind of make stuff up. You got to ask yourself the question, what is the proof that is required? How many of you folks have believed in God or do believe in God? Have you seen it? I'd have to see God to believe in it. There are churches. There are people of faith. There are people who've devoted their lives to it, of all. And they've never seen anything. They've heard about it. They've kind of felt it. They were raised in it. They read about it. They heard other people talk about it. They've read scholarly reports. They haven't seen anything, ever. They felt things. They think that maybe there's a miracle or there. Why is religion different? Well, that's different. But this is only you believing somebody who may have seen something. How is it that you can devote or believe in God and change your life completely when you've seen nothing? Well, that's different. That's called faith. What is faith? Faith is believing in something without having any proof of it. But what do you call that? I don't know what you call that, but it's a fascinating question. Let's take a bit of a respite. Just think, and I'm not meaning to insult anybody, but it's a question that I find fascinating, as I do the notion of luxuriation from our great friend Mike Lindell at mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. It's time yet again, my friends, to hail and salute our great friends at mypillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you'll get a free gift. No purchase necessary. And yes, I know a free gift. It's a tautology, so sue me. But first, listen carefully. Check out their $25 extravaganzas. Premium My Pillows, Queen and King, My Pillow 2.0. My Pillow bed sheets, the lowest price ever. Sandals, slides, slippers, 6-piece towel sets, 4-pack dish towel sets. Simply and absolutely unbelievable. So go to mypillow.com/Lionel, mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, or call 800-645-4965 and watch how fast Mike Lindell answers the phone. mypillow.com, simply and absolutely the best. Today, as you know, dear friend, is President Trump's birthday, and it's also Flag Day. He is 78 years old today, and he says he's going to be doing some wonderful things. How do you believe that? Do you believe it? Is it trust or is it faith? Wait a minute. What's trust? Well, that's a little different. That means I hope you're going to do what you say you're going to do. What's faith? Faith is I believe you did do what you did, or that's trust. I'm not sure. How do you know what you know? How is it that you know what you know? There are some people. How many of you fine, great, lovely people believe in astrology? Be honest. Be honest. I'm feces. That's my sign. How many of you have gone to astrologers, believe in your sun sign and your risings and when you were born? And how many of you have even changed? Nancy Reagan did it. Patton supposedly did it. How many of you, dear, dear, dear friends of yours, believe in this thing called astrology? Who does? Who does? The gut never lets you down. Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. There is nothing worse than saying like, I don't know about that. It's good if that's all you got, but that's not good. The Bible tells me not to. Does anyone here actually believe? And do you know how many folks believe in astrology? I know nothing about it. I know nothing about it. And when I say I don't believe in it, it's like I know nothing about it. How can you not believe in something you know nothing about? Do I believe in oh God, what is that? I don't know, numerology. I don't know anything about that. What's wrong with the notion of believing in astrology? What's wrong with that? Anybody? How do you know what astrology is if you don't know what it is? How can something that has affected people for so long, how is it that they don't know what they're talking about? I don't believe fortune cookies either. Do you believe that a fortune cookie, a piece of paper that has a saying, It doesn't, fortune cookies don't say anything. It's more inspirational, it's philosophical. Have you seen one lately? By the way, there's a big place in Brooklyn that makes these things. They're just things like, consciousness is the fortune cookies don't. They're not. Why don't you believe in it? Ugh, it's satanic. Do you believe in Satan? Now that's a good one. That's my favorite. Do you believe in Satan? I don't. Why? There's no evidence of it. None. But I'm all ears. There's no evidence of that. None. That's pure faith or fear. One of the two. You can read about it. Well, other people say, I clearly know there's something evil in this world. What do you mean? Well, that's Satan's derived. So if there were no Satan, there would be no evil? Well, no. So when somebody does something evil to somebody or hurts somebody, they're motivated by Satan? No. There's absolutely, positively, 100% nothing that I wouldn't even come close to believing that. But I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. You can believe whatever you want. So you're telling me you don't believe in astrology that has a chart, that has practitioners, people have been following this, versus Satan or Lucifer or demons or Beelzebub or Mephistopheles. And other religions have nothing to do with Satan. They don't even know what you're talking about. And the look of Satan comes from basically a Pan. This was a pagan ideology. Again, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. Confucianism? What's wrong with that? Sanskrit? Sanskrit. See, what I'm trying to tell you is simply this. Humans don't know what they're talking about. Never get into an argument about somebody's faith, somebody's belief. You just sit back like I do and say, interesting, and let them go. You're not going to talk them out of it. They're not wrong. They're not crazy. Absolutely not. None. I am fascinated by this thing called, I believe, a God gene. I believe there is something that is in human beings. It might be some kind of a parietal lobe thing because they've said it before. There is parts of the brain when stimulated through transcranial electromagnetic radiation, people have felt religious experiences. They have felt them. Did you know that? They have recreated. I can cause you to feel a moment of, yes, he is here. Because let's face it, anything that you feel up to and including love, hate, fear, I can recreate by either stimulating directly or with neurotransmitters. Every feeling you have, happiness, elation, fear, sleep, wide awake, dread, terror, I can make you manic. I can make you cry. I can make you do anything. Everything you do is not a manifestation of some correct stimulus, but what is happening in your brain electrically, neurotransmitterly, everything, every single thing. Now, the thing about it is that when you have groups of people say, there it is, when you have evidence going back of UFO, if you have radar, if you have visual, if you have multiple means of recordation and seeing it, hearing it, observable, if you have people around the world that say, I saw it, tracking on radar, that's one thing. That is one thing. Humans, remember, never want you to question their faith. They don't like you to do this. They don't like you. They do not do this. Say, well, why do you, let me ask something. You're a Jew. Yeah. Why is that? Because your parents were Jew, or maybe later on you converted, or whatever it is. Most probably it depends. If you're born in Syria, you're probably going to be a Muslim. Probably. If you're born in I don't know, Nyack, New York, you're probably going to be, if you are religion, probably going to be a Christian. Probably. Or you could be Jewish. Why? Because of geography. Not because there's a greater instances of Christianity being true in Rockland County. No, I'm just saying it's where you are. It's what your parents are. You're first told this as a parent, just like many people's religion, their politics. My father was a conservative. I was told. I was raised in a conservative house. That's exactly what happens. And then you kind of agree with it. Break down what you really, how do you know what you know? Why do you believe something? I believe it, and that's it, and it gets me by, and you know what? That's the greatest thing in the world. But here's the best part. But when somebody tells you, listen, I don't know anybody who says, I was transported to see Jesus. I was transported to see Allah. I was transported to see Abraham. I was put on a golden ship and taken to. That's different than somebody who says, I was taken. I was abducted. I can tell you what happened. Put me under hypnosis. I'll tell you this. Betty and Barney Hill were describing star systems, and they supposedly were similar to, they used pipe cleaners, and she basically came up with something which was Zeta Reticuli. She knows nothing about this. This was an interracial couple in the 50s, I believe. And the last thing they wanted to do was come forward. Believe me. But most people don't know anything about their studies. So am I supposed to disbelieve? I'm saying, I think they both were hallucinating. Is it both? They're both. It's a con job, or I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe that. It's not that I don't believe them because I don't think the faith or the evidence is there. I don't want to believe them. I don't like this. I don't like astrology because I just don't. I was kind of raised to say that's stupid. And more importantly, I know nothing about it. But either way, I'm going to say it's satanic. That's it. It's satanic. Listen to what we do here. It's fantastic. This is the greatest chance to see how people think. We're not open-minded about anything. We say yes and no to things we know nothing about. It's the most incredible thing in the world. We know nothing about this. No facts, no history, no nothing. But we say no, no. That's crazy. That's nuts. Who was it who said, oh, the Sega thing, extraordinary claims, we need extraordinary proof. What does that mean? No. If somebody tells me they believe in God, I believe them. There's no proof of that. That's the extraordinary claim. They don't need extraordinary proof of that. If you tell me you're in love with somebody, I believe you. Prove it. Well, it's what you feel, right? That's all it is. That's what faith is, what you feel. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong at all. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. But yet we will tell somebody who's an atheist or somebody who was like a Buddhist who's an atheist, they're crazy because they have elected not to, that there's something wrong with them. That that if there were no religion in the world, we would have terrible things happening. That religion is what keeps mankind from doing bad things. We truly believe this. Let me ask you something. Look at what's happening in the Middle East right now, in terms of between Israel and Palestine, both of these very, very strong faith systems. You mean to tell me that this is going on? You mean to tell me if there were no faith, if there were just two people, Palestinians who were atheists and Jews who were atheists or whatever they were, you mean to tell me that this would be worse? These are people who believe in a God. Look at the way they treat each other. This is with God. And you mean to tell me it would be worse if there were no faith? Are you kidding me? Oh my, no. Faith has nothing to do with it. It's about land. It's about just like the troubles in the 20s in Northern Ireland. It's not about Protestants and Catholics. It's about land. It's about ownership. It's about sovereignty. It's about jurisdiction. People say these things and they never sit back and say, do I still believe it? Do I think is man good or bad? Man's not good. No way. The only reason that man is good is because man's not bad. Man doesn't do bad things. We don't go out of our way to do bad things. Look, question yourself always. Question your faith. Question your belief. Question why you say something. Question why you're a Republican. What's a Republican? What's a Democrat? What does woke mean? What does all this mean? Don't just repeat things because you've become used to them. Like, okay, I'm pretty okay with this, you know. No, think about it. And if something doesn't make sense to you anymore, get rid of it. Ask yourself, why am I saying this? Do I really believe this? Or am I saying I believe it? I've got this friend of mine. He says, I'm a Catholic. I said, you never go to mass. You never honor any holy days of obligation. You do nothing. You're not a member of a parish. You break virtually every commandment there is, that's other than coveting your neighbor's mule. But yet he says, I'm a Catholic, because his parents were Catholic and he was baptized, and he identifies with it. Just like he says, I'm a Yankee fan. He's no more Catholic than I am a Muslim. I don't do anything. But he believes, but it never manifests itself. It doesn't mean anything. Well, no, but I believe. Well, okay, fine. Tomorrow I'm going to believe in Zion Coptic. I'm not going to do anything, but I'm going to believe it. It's just like, for example, are you gay if you don't have sex? Okay, right now, be gay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You're gay. Okay, you're gay. Ready? You're gay. Right now, you're gay. What does it feel like? Nothing. Okay, ready? We're going to reverse it in 1, 2, 3. Okay, now you're back to where you were. Did you notice any difference? No. That's exactly what being gay is like. You don't feel anything. You don't, it doesn't. You might think something if you're kind of out on the prowl, if you're out going to a bar to look for some action, then you might notice it. But most of the time, if you work with somebody, you're a man, she's a woman, does that make any difference? No. But she's a heterosexual and so are you. Well, so what? Yeah, but don't you understand, aren't you? No, it doesn't make any difference. But we talk so much about gay. Those people we're talking about, these folks, let me ask you something. What is the thing that bothers you the most? Not bothers you, not that you're upset, but what's the thing that you, hang on a minute, where is it? Oh, here we go. What's the thing that you think is the most, that's the most, what is the most, dare I say, troublesome about this? What is the thing that you find the most annoying?
LA City Council members Hugo Soto Martinez and Nithya Raman were on hand today to help remove the signs. They say the no cruising and no U-turn signs were put up in the 1990s to prevent people in the gay community from meeting up with other gay people.
Now, if I could put a little plethysmograph or something on you, check your BP and your heart rate, let me tell you where it's going to go up.
I was also surprised that these U-turn signs were still up. And at first, they seem a little, okay, it's just a no U-turn sign. But when you learn the history of it and you realize that these were used to profile gay people.
Okay, now be honest with me. If you found that annoying, what's annoying? Gay people? No. He's annoying. Right? He's annoying. It's not because he's gay. He's annoying. If I told you this guy's straight, people who somehow just get on your nerves, he gets on your nerves. Not because he's gay, because he gets on your nerves. And if somebody walks into a room 7 feet tall on platform and Herman Munster shoes with a bouffant wig that looks like a divine with a glandular problem, you say, that gets on my nerves. Why? Not because they're trans, but because they look stupid. Most of the times what we respond to has something to do with the overarching thing. It's like, this guy annoys me. This guy annoys me. If all of a sudden I said, okay, let me ask you something. Here is so-and-so speaking. Let's say, if John Wayne were gay, would that bother you? No, because it's not that. Sometimes we react to people just by virtue of the way there's something about them that's just, and that's okay. That's the way I respected Jordan Peterson. I cannot hear Jordan Peterson for a millisecond. I can't. Turn it right off. I can't take it. I can't. Something happens to me. Something inside me dies. Something inside has died. And I got anymore. I can't take it. Oh no. It's too late, baby, right? I'm not saying Jordan Peterson is gay or whatever, but I'm saying he just annoys me to no end. He annoys me. He says nothing. His voice, the Canadian thing, I can't take it. Now, that's me. I don't want him to stop talking. He's very successful, very popular, annoys me to no end. That person annoyed you not because of their sexuality, but the voice, the attitude. Be honest, they annoy you. Some people just annoy you. Some people you don't mind. Paul Lynde, I thought was kind of funny. Why? I don't know. Just did. Charles Nelson Riley, gay, very flamboyant, but again, that term, I didn't mind it. I don't know. It's nothing to do with it. Sometimes people, you just don't like them. Mark Cuban annoys me. I don't know what his sexuality is. He annoys me. Period. Kathy Griffin annoys me. Chelsea Handler annoys me. That's really what it is. So remember something. Always ask yourself, why is it that somebody bothers me? Is it because of sexuality? No, it's the way they talk, the way they act. They get on your nerves. That's all. And if you really think about it, the stuff that we say we believe or don't believe in, we just say it. We don't think about it. We don't understand it. We don't give it much time. We just say it. And there's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. That's what I love about being human. We say things, especially, see, there's the you. If you were by yourself, you wouldn't think at all about Satan until somebody brings up Satan. Then you believe in Satan. You wouldn't talk about the Bible or whatever unless somebody brings it up. You wouldn't care about astrology unless somebody brings it up. You go through your whole day not even thinking anything about it. It makes no difference. Nor does the sexuality of anybody. Nothing until somebody brings it up. And then you reach back and just repeat. You say things reflexively, like a patellar reflex, like you touch the knee with a hammer. You just say things. Most of the time, you don't care anything about it. You don't even know why you believe it. You think you do. I guess I believe. So I don't know. What do you mean? Well, yeah. I had a friend of mine who said the other day, he goes, I'm a Christian. What does that mean? Well, I believe. Okay, fine. Okay, do me a favor. Believe in it. Now, do me for the next 5 minutes, not believe it. Can you turn the belief off? Yeah. It looks exactly to what you're doing right now. Isn't it something? It looks exactly like what you are doing now. Think about that. That's all. All right, dear friends, this is some heavy stuff. And I know people don't like to talk about that because people, as you'll find, do not like to be questioned. They don't like this stuff. They just don't. They love apodictic, very simple things. Tell me what to think, and that's it. But don't ask me why I believe it, if I believe it. Don't do it. All right, dear friends, thank you so very much. You've been so terrific. Madam said, Lionel, I've never seen God, but I've seen evidence of him in my life. I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. Now, I would say I haven't. And a Buddhist would say, I haven't either. We're good people. I haven't seen any evidence of Islam. But I'm not going to tell 2 billion people. You people are crazy. And I've never seen an electron either. But I think there is, because it follows a model. And you can test an electron. You can say, all right, let's see if that makes sense. This works. This model works. When we see things that we are unable to grasp, something that is beautiful, something that is profound, something that is inexplicable, oftentimes people say, just like people say, there's got to be somebody out there. That's not the reason why there's got to be somebody out there, but we do that. Look at that. And look at, believe stuff, and listen to me very careful, Miss Stamp in particular. I want you to follow the words of Behe, John Lennox, Stephen Meyer, David Berlinski, David Gelernter. These are scientists today who are throwing Darwin under the bus and who are saying that there is something called intelligent design. listen very carefully. Evidence from some very smart people that there is that the old pocket watch that you find in the middle of the road, that there indeed is evidence of something beyond, maybe not God per se, but an intelligent control mechanism beyond just happenstance and the like. That makes sense to you? Good. All right, dear friend. So Madam Stamp, thank you. Kent Lomason, thank you. Hockey Gramps and Mort Telford. Thank you all, my great and glorious people. Have a wonderful and a terrific day. It has been so special being with you. It means so much to me. I thank that. Thank you for that. And until next time, until we meet, remember these words. Until then, remember, as I always say, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da, da.